Good morning. It is Thursday, the 25th of August. We continue the exploration of the book of Job. I hope you're enjoying it. I certainly am. And we can't help but think in my earlier descriptions that maybe as Christians, and I'm going to disagree with this, but I'm just mooting it, maybe as Christians, we think that we're somehow innocent bystanders, captured or caught up in the conflict between Satan and God. We think of Ukraine and how many civilians are injured through indiscriminate bombing because the Russians don't seem to be any better than being able to pinpoint where they want their shells to go. Rather useless, that. But I think it's more than we are simply innocent bystanders caught up. We are told that as Christians we are under persecution and attack from Satan. And he will attack us personally, he will attack us through others. And we as Christians need to live a life that is holy and blameless so we don't attract attack. And when innocent people look at us, they see through our holy living that we surely cannot be guilty of the crimes that others might think or Satan sows as indicating us being guilty of. So we are definitely under attack. You see this at the very beginning of the book of Job, where Satan and God, and again, this is, I believe, a degree of hyperbole. I don't think Satan and God have regular staff meetings. But in this instant, as it's described to us in the beginning of the book of Job, we see God and Satan being together. And of course, please don't fear that this is possibly going to happen because God cannot stand in the presence of sin. Satan will be destroyed utterly should he try and come into the presence of God. So we know that this is just a way of this account being introduced to us. Nevertheless, there is God and Satan, and God says, "Look and behold how righteous is my servant Job." And Satan, true to his nature as the accuser, and Satan, the word Satan means the accuser. Satan laughs and says, he is not holy, he is not righteous, he is just a sinful person. He puts on a show to impress you. Satan is saying to God, you're a liar. I mean, how dare you do that? And God, again, from a human understanding, is put into a bit of an invidious position. Now, God, obviously, as God, could have just done a Madagascar, smile and wave. But he didn't, because this is a story that is meant for us as humans to read and understand and learn from it. So God is put into this position, in a sense, and he has to say, well, go and prove me wrong. God knows that he's right. And so it is that Job is personally attacked by Satan. And now that may well happen for you and me. And quite how it all goes about is not for us to worry about, but we are under direct attack from Satan. Otherwise, we are under direct attack from those who listen to Satan more than they do to God. They might not realize that they're doing it. They may even want to call themselves Christians, but they tend to listen to gossip rather than the truth. And that's one of the reasons, just as a quick little sidebar, we are told have nothing to do with gossip because it can lead us astray and lead us into the clutches of Satan. So if you hear something bad about somebody, just smile and wave, do the Madagascar, and then go and find out for yourself gently, or simply say in faith, I do not believe that. So as Christians, we are under persecution. But it's interesting, we read Job 8, and we saw how the friend Bildad is talking to Job and saying to him, Job, you must have done something wrong. This belief that God cannot himself do something wrong, so therefore if we are being punished, it's because we have done something wrong, even if we don't even know what it was, some kind of secret sin, or we are just a hypocrite and we are lying to our friends and putting on an image of being perfect. And Bildad is convinced that this is the case, and he argues his point from that perspective. But he says something interesting in verse 7 of chapter 8 of Job, which he, I don't believe, had any clue as to what he was saying, but actually it'll come true. He says to Job, if you are righteous and if you confess the sin that you have, then God will restore you and you will regain everything that you have lost, and even more than what you have lost. Now that actually does come true if you read to the end of Job. God does restore Job to his former power and glory and wealth. Please don't, another little sidebar, please don't think that wealth is an indication of faith and God's providence in your life. Not at all. But in the story, because we are humans, that is how God's blessing is captured. Don't believe that it has to be real, otherwise God is somehow not with you. And I want to end then on this point, that God is very aware of what's happening in our lives, just as God was incredibly aware of what was happening to Job. And God used this horrible situation, and God didn't say it was not horrible, but he used it as an object lesson to give a teaching and a truth to Job and all who would read the account, so that we ourselves can learn from it. God is aware of what you are suffering. God is aware of the persecution, and God will deliver you and will restore you. Your enemies will be destroyed. Just think about the Psalms that we read today, and off the top of my head now, I can't remember what they were. But read the Psalms from the lectionary readings for morning prayer today. Read the story in Acts chapter 10 of Cornelius and Peter getting together. God hears our prayers. God will answer those prayers. Hang in there if you are suffering. God is with you. God will deliver you. Hang in there. Have faith. Folks, we'll chat again tomorrow. God bless.